as we're calling it. This is the cast and crew of Transolar Galactica. Give them another big round of applause.
Thank you guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks.
Yes,
Gosh.
thank you guys so much for showing up tonight.
Yeah, thank you. It's awesome.
You guys need to go through, introduce yourselves again.
Sure. Yeah, it's on.
Okay. I'm Clancy Bundy. I got the accents in the show. That's it. Nice to meet you all. I think I know a lot of you.
I'm Isaac. I was the captain, and I held the microphone most of the time.
I'm Adam Harrim, and I was Samson. I get shot in the chest a lot.
And I'm Adam Boyd. I was Petty Officer McCall. We'll leave it at that.
You guys just kind of start out by telling us sort of how the inception for the show came about, like what it was that inspired you, and what was the genesis of Transolar Galactica?
Want me to take this?
Yeah, you do.
We rehearsed this a little bit.
I'll lead into it.
Okay.
Well, after college, we all decided we wanted to work on something together just to stay busy, and we had an idea for a skit show, kind of like Mitchell and Webb kind of idea, and that's what I'll pass it off to you.
All right. So we decided we were going to do not only a skit show, but like our own like sitcom thing. And within that sitcom, we were going to play characters, and one of the characters was going to be played by Isaac. His whole backstory was that he wrote a book called Transolar Galactica that no one ever read. And that's where the title actually ended up coming from. And eventually we realized that sitcom wasn't going to work out and no one was going to watch it. So we decided to just scrap the whole thing and move on to our sketch show. And while we were trying to figure out all these different sketches we could do, we flashed back and remembered that Transolar Galactica is a hilarious title that we laughed about constantly. And eventually me and Isaac were in the car talking about sketches, and we realized that within the Star Trek universe, in movie number 6, he actually says the line "second star to the right and straight on till morning," and the ship actually goes somewhere, and they all like are really dramatic and like smiley at each other, like yeah, and they're so like enthusiastic about it. And we thought that was just hilarious that they actually ended up going somewhere. So we just kept fleshing that out and talking about it, and realized that we should do a sketch where that's the concept, and they actually just destroy themselves because it makes no sense to just blast somewhere. And so
we grabbed like portable green screens and we shot it in our living room at our crappy house on Altamont, and it turned out all right. We liked it. It's a little. You'll notice it feels like a skit show kind of piece because it's a lot of talking. Like that's one of the main things I don't like about episode 1 is it's a lot of talking. But as an introductory episode, as something that was produced one time, it was really easy, really fun, and gosh, we just decided to keep going with that and screw the rest of the show.
So we scrapped our sketch show as well and decided that we would do this instead.
And I scrapped my Zap Brannigan voice for the rest of the episode. We're actually doing more of them. So. As my face melts in the show, I sound less and less like Zap Brannigan.
Is it just me, or does your hair sort of grow progressively throughout the season?
Yeah, it was really,
to the state that we now see it.
It was really tough getting the continuity right on that,
but. Does anybody have questions? I see a hand.
Yes, you in the back.
I've got 2 questions. First, what is everything that ever mattered to Captain Trigger? And the second is, where will we be able to buy the DVD?
We might actually sell Blu-rays.
Ooh.
So buy a Blu-ray player first, and then
don't buy a DVD.
We'll do both. But wow.
Let's see. Season 1 DVDs are distant future.
We're hoping to
require money to make them.
Yeah. The money we're hoping to gather, and thank you all again for showing up and supporting us. Is we're going to go on a convention run. There's a website that hosts us called Zombie Orpheus Entertainment, and they do a really cool program as far as getting everyone collected together to go all over the country.
It's sort of like a website channel, I guess, where everyone just kind of they ask creators to come to them, and they'll put their show online for in part of a community, and they just have a huge one, and so we're really happy to be part of their group now. And
so
we're gonna ride their coattails all around the country, going to conventions,
and about the time that those end, we should have season 1 on DVD. So probably a couple months, but it's tentative. We'll keep you guys posted. And the other question,
everything that ever mattered to Captain Remington Trigger was some chick, presumably.
Another question.
Some chick, presumably. That's my cousin, bro.
You said after college, what's your college backgrounds? And do they have anything to do with film?
Nope, we're all interior decorators. We all basically have been doing this same thing for quite a while now together. Transolar is the first, I guess, thing that wasn't graded for a while.
We actually all ended up going to film school together for 2 straight years. If you go to film school, it's a rough ride, and you sort of get to know each other and learn to work together really well, and that's kind of why we're still able to go. And then Boyd here is just,
We're actually all graduates of Eastern Washington University's film program. I went through the program and graduated prior to these gents, but I was fortunate enough to be around in the area and see a lot of their work during their times as students, and was very enchanted by what they were doing, even outside of Transolar Galactica, and ended up working with a lot of them. Clancy and I have worked together on feature films here in the area, and I think I sort of came aboard right after the first episode. I'm probably
Boyd was
gushing. I was gushing. I was like, please let me be a part of the show.
Boyd's funny because we brought him on to be McCall, and then we found out that he has all these amazing marketing and all these other talents that he just hides in that small stature. So once we were able to discover that he's...
So once they were able to exploit me...
Yeah. Once we found out that he's cheap, easy labor for a multitude of different tasks, we just... Yeah.
And even though he's like really small, he doesn't count as a child.
But I was happy to join on board, and it's been a really fun ride to get to work with these guys. It's really interesting to see their creative process and how they develop the episodes, kind of being outside of the creative process and just being here to help deliver whatever these guys need to get an episode done. It's just reading through the script, and half the time I go, how the hell are we going to do that? And they go, Adam's got it. He knows all this software stuff. He'll make the spaceship fly through asteroids.
He'll make pretty happen.
And I was like, okay, all right. So I go along, and it's on the screen. You saw it. It happened. So
it's actually funny about Boyd being in episode 2 is P.O. McCall is. We actually wrote the last episode of the series about the time we wrote episode 2. And so we decided, hey, as long as we got Boyd here and he's free actor, let's get him to shoot episode 10, but it was going to be like episode 6. So actually when he gets launched in that torpedo and gets destroyed, that was filmed like so long ago.
It's one of the first things I shot.
One of the first things he actually shot, and it's funny how the show evolved, and it actually ended up becoming the big season ender. And you haven't aged a day.
Nope. Might have gone back a year or so.
Before too much more time goes by, you guys told me before the show that you were going to speak for Jade, who can't be here. Yasaki.
Yes. I don't know Cantonese.
we'll just imagine the subtitles.
Jade.
Yeah, Jade's our token Asian guy. So
was he?
Yeah. So we get a lot of jokes in. But Jade is actually not with us today because he's doing something amazing, and so whatever. He's actually down in California right now working on a short film for a contact he knows, shooting it on the Reds Epic, which is an awesome new camera that just came out. Shoots 5K and slow motion. So he's like, working as a professional, and But he said he wished he could be here to answer all the nerdy questions you guys would have. So
but we'll answer.
He'd answer with soccer terminology.
Yeah. It's kind of the joke within the group is that I think especially these gents here and myself, we're all sci-fi nerds and comic book nerds, and we love the genre.
That's Clancy.
I'll call you something else, Isaac. But Jade is not within that all. Jade's an incredibly talented filmmaker, incredibly talented DP, but in no way identifies himself with that.
He doesn't get a lot of jokes, which kind of works because that's kind of what he is.
The series just happens to Jade, and it's awesome how it unfolds.
Which I think helps with his character. He's constantly frustrated with all these sci-fi weirdos around him, and he's just the straight man. So, but we miss Jade, and Jade, if you're listening to this later, I hope you're having fun. So.
Speaking of nerdy questions, are there any others? Yes.
How does Reggie decide what accent to use, and what are you going to do when you run out of accents?
Well, I think I still have Jamaican left to do.
Sign language. You're
Sign language.
I can see a legal battle on my end for that one.
Reggie's. I think he actually thinks he has each one of those accents. Like that's what he is in each episode. They're kind of like Wile E. Coyote cartoons the way they're structured. So he's that one every time. But we'll see what accents I'm gonna stick with or keep going with or.
We basically go with whatever I can get Clancy to speak convincingly, or to a certain level.
By the end of every episode, me and Isaac pretty much have the actual accent mastered. Just like Clancy, no, like this. You're doing British again.
Yeah.
Stop being Jason Statham.
For the record, Jamaican switches into Scottish really easily somehow. I don't know how it happens, but yeah, man, it's just it goes. Yeah, thanks for that.
It's actually really I think just again kind of being outside the creative process, but being able to be involved as an actor in a role on the set. It's fun to see these guys work together because it's sort of like being in a college frat house just with cameras. Like they're just constantly hazing each other and just ripping on each other. They'll tear apart each other's scripts and the performances. But I think like
usually that's one directional. You don't see me walking up to Isaac going hey,
for
buddy.
those of you at home listening to the podcast, I'm pointing at Isaac. But I think that's what's so neat about the creative process and what comes out of it is that the humor and the comedy is all these guys are bringing in that perspective of what's kind of silly and ridiculous in those successful sci-fi genres, and these guys really know exactly where to pull out, where to find the punches, and they are constantly challenging each other, and I think it's really neat to kind of see the show develop in that way.
Oh, thank you, boy.
You're welcome.
Next up.
Any other questions? You, sir.
Yeah, so I love the concept of pretty much every character dying at the end of every episode. But as a sci-fi continuity nerd, it was kind of frustrating. So I liked at the end of the final episode of the first season, we kind of start to get some backstory.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, in season 2, what can we look forward to as far as overarching
You can
plots?
look forward to continuity.
We're working real hard.
Yes!
I've studied it in film school for years.
When people die in season 2, it'll be for reals.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about season 2 just a little bit?
Yeah. Season 2's it's in the air right now. I mean, we'd like to do it, but we'll talk more about that later. But season 2 is going to be a complete change. Everything from so the format of the video change. Jade's like, I'm sick of shooting on damn green screens, man. Like he wants to shoot for real and he wants to shoot on locations, which is exciting. I'm not sure logistically how we're going to pull that off, but he wants to take more time, lose a lot of the lens flares, because I think that J.J. Abrams joke's getting a tad tired. But yeah, I just expect from the ground up a complete change, but the same characters, the same style of humor.
Definitely the same comedy. It's actually really cool that I got brought on with these guys and working through the first season, but as we were wrapping up this season and planning this event and some of the conventions that these guys are planning to hit during the summer, they had already started developing the second season, and most of it's written at this point, and had the pleasure to go through the script with Adam and Clancy and stuff and just hear, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited, and I don't know, but just the same humor,
scared, bro.
the same comedy. But again, I think we're taking it up another notch, which is kind of part of why we're doing this event tonight and trying to raise audience and kind of help with our funds for later, because season 2 is going to be even a bigger step. Like Clancy said, hopefully practical locations, a bigger crew, some other people to handle some of the stuff, so we don't have to keep using chocolate syrup and things for
That works
special
really well. I
effects.
just like
It's
not
delicious.
Nerf guns, actually. Like,
Yeah, maybe some
dryer ball grenades, like
props.
paint can grenade pins. It's
I think
I
it's
like
one
an
of,
art department budget.
I think it's one of the strengths of the shows, but one of the things we'd like to grow on is that and I guess myself included, we all wear so many different hats on the show. I mean, these guys are the writers, the producers, they're acting in it, they're directing at the same time, which just helps with all them honing the creativity within the show. But I think also it can be a little stressful at times, and it's hard to stay focused on all those hats at the same time and trying to be in character and at the same time worrying about the shot and everything else. So I think with season 2 we're hoping to kind of hone in on wearing those hats a little better and focusing on our strengths. So
Next question.
How long did it take to produce season 1?
Good question. We started, I don't know dates, but we did the first one, and we had a fun time with it, so we decided to do the next 2, and then we went on through 5, And then we got recruited by Zombie Orpheus, and they're like, yo, you can't have this stuff on the internet if we're going to re-release all the episodes, dumb shits. So we took a big old break.
And they said you also have to adhere to a schedule now. You're supposed to release every 2 weeks.
Schedules.
Like,
I would say, I think after your first episode, there was probably a little bit of a lull.
A little bit of
maybe like a month or so, maybe. And then once I think they got kind of a big audience reception, it became kind of popular, so they dove into the show. But then it was like the next 2 came out, and then you guys linked up with Zombie Orpheus. So there's.
And then we'd use all that free time to sit back and not make the next 5.
So we're like, yeah, we have 5 episodes in the bag. We can hold off a little bit. We'll release those.
So there's like 2 weeks. We got 6 to come out, right?
Yeah.
Let's.
Yeah.
So you know, it's like halfway through the season, the style kind of changes. We've become more proficient with the technology. That he becomes more proficient with the technology.
So to actually answer your question, it takes us about a week once we start one.
Yeah, and
an episode, and then we take breaks in between. So I would say last summer, I guess. So a little under a year.
Under a year, yeah.
And that's just spread out. If we actually just.
I think we shot the first one in April,
Yeah.
and we finished the last one.
Month ago.
Yeah, a month ago.
and I'll be done stroking all of you soon. But
No, keep going.
That's why there's the tablecloth there.
It's amazing to me to watch all these guys work together and plot out. I work in the industry, and I've worked on large feature films, and the way these guys are working and what they're doing is so comparable, and it's impressive of what they do with a shoestring budget. So it's exciting for me. Yeah, we can't even afford the shoestrings. It's exciting for me because of just the amount of talent that's here sitting at this table, and what Adam does in post in this short amount of time is just impressive. When we shoot, and they're like, "Oh, well, it's got to be up for Zombie Orpheus to hit online next week," and I'm like, we just shot everything on a green screen. I'm reading the script. There's a space battle through an asteroid field. How are you gonna do that in time? And Adam's like, well, I just won't sleep, and I'll probably skip a few meals, but it should be fine. So, and he doesn't, and by the end of the week, you see him, and he hasn't shaved, and he looks his face is gaunt, and he's very hungry. But by God, he delivers some great effects on the screen. So.
Another question in the back here somewhere.
Shannon.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we were going to see more of Aaron Fink in the second season.
We actually talked about that because we like Fink a lot. Fink is the guy that plays the Musketeers in the Simulation Bay.
The 2 guys sword fighting themselves. Fink's a nice spice. You sprinkle him on very, very, very lightly. I wouldn't go as far as say we're going to cast him as like a main role unless we needed an invisible man. But as an accent piece, Fink's a great guy.
So there may be another Simbay.
Maybe we can make him the
event.
Theta Squad.
But
Yeah.
Fink, if you're listening to this in an alley somewhere, we love you.
I'm still undecided on it.
Any other questions?
Oh, where was the invasion?
Okay, the question was, are we inspired by Red Dwarf? And I've heard of Red Dwarf, and I know that it's a Star Trek parody. But apparently we should watch. Shit, let me finish. But actually, none of us have extensively watched Red Dwarf, so we're not ripping it off. There are plenty of things that we are ripping off, but that's for you to find.
I can tell you're not ripping it off, but it's similar. You should watch it. It's funny.
We're kind of scared of watching other spoof shows. Like there's Troopers on here. I'm pressing. Here's some press, guys. Troopers. That's on. I forgot what the Man Channel.
On the internet.
Yeah, on the internet.
Man Channel.
Man Channel on the internet.
That is the internet. To be honest.
There's a couple other series that do the kind of the same angle that we do, and we're kind of afraid to watch them just in case it rubs off. That way we can't make.
We can also deny things.
Exactly. Plausible.
Like you stole that from that? No, we never saw it. We don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Now go ahead. The question in the back.
Yeah. Where was the invasion?
That was in Cheney. We invaded the shit out of Cheney.
Okay.
Down by the train tracks, they didn't catch us.
We had to pause every once in a while to let the trains go by, but we're not entirely sure what those stone pillars are.
Cover, baby.
The cover. They were there for us, apparently. Someone constructed them 20 years ago for us.
I just love that episode because we think the planets get invaded by slugs, but really we're just invading like a innocent farming community. It's Bad people.
They're pretty boss though. Like they fire back.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Forces us to kill ourselves.
Good for those villagers.
Good for them.
All 4 of them.
Really, that was just me and Michael Mullenix.
Mike Mullenix, actually.
Looped all over the
Is
place.
Mike here? Mike's
Yeah,
here?
Mike's in.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Mike dies quite a bit in our show.
Yeah.
We hide his face a lot, but he does die.
Mike's
quite a bit.
great as the.
Yeah.
What's it like dying on Transolar Galactica?
I consider it an honor. It's a lot of fun to let these guys shoot me over and over and over again.
Anytime,
it's quite
boss.
fun. Yeah, actually, Adam got me to shoot myself too. I mean, that's the highlight of my career.
Getting rid of the middleman.
Any other questions, complaints?
Kind of going back to what Clancy said about it was one of your favorite episodes. What is your favorite episode or your favorite moment from filming?
You can prep us for this one, boys.
No, sorry.
I'll go first.
Done, PR guy.
I like anytime Clancy gets shot in the face.
That's just in general. That could be anywhere. That could be on a weekend, Super Bowl. It doesn't matter.
I like actually. Let's see. The funny thing about doing all the effects and stuff on the show is that I see them so many times that eventually they don't have an effect on me at all. So like Clancy's head exploding or like me getting shot so many times I don't actually see as that. And so the moment that I like the best is when Clancy shoots me in the chest 7 times in episode 3 because I always forget how much that has really creeped people out. Like, why does he get shot so many times? And I'm like, oh, I guess that is kind of violent.
Excessive.
Yeah. I think we screened that episode at a film event here earlier at Real Spokane, right? And didn't like a little old woman be like, why did you have to shoot him so many times?
Once or twice.
The blood kept flying up.
The old lady's efficient. She's like, I could have got it done in 2. I don't know why you done 7. Wasting ammo. Commies are coming.
Clancy, what's your favorite
I like episode 8. I just think it's Samson's episode, kind of, in a way. And Shaylee, the girl who was our creepy little girl, did an amazing job. And Adam just destroyed that one with visual effects. And his head just explodes. And Josh is good. I like number 8. I also wrote it.
Oh, there we go. I think Release the Cobras, was that episode 6?
6, yeah.
That one got me because I think... if anything else, Jade's performance in that one, I just felt like at the end in the ship, he's just done with this entire crew.
And he was.
Which I guess on set.
Yeah, when he's like swearing and really angry, he's swearing and really angry.
I felt it on that one, and I think at the end where it's just him and Trigger and the EMP's launched and they're just sitting dead in the water, and he has his head bowed. And the light flashes, and he just looks so defeated. And I don't know, it pulls a little heartstring, and I just feel so bad for Yasaki. I'm like, the poor bastard. But
All right, does anybody else have any questions or comments? Right here.
James, you made it.
Yes.
I was worried.
How did the use of the word flogging come about?
That was him.
Oh, it was. Actually, a lot of the names of the characters, and that's what's funny about episode 1 is we're always like, I don't know about episode 1, but we set up a lot of rules in episode 1 we realized that aren't established anywhere else in the series, like Clancy's accent, noting it's fake, using flogging and making the joke that on the Battlestar Galactica joke is in Battlestar Galactica they say frack.
Yeah,
frack in this and frack this, and it's really stupid.
Yeah.
It's so
unless there's any producers out there from Battlestar Galactica that want to
amazing.
sponsor us.
We're inspired by you.
If that's true,
fracking is
my number's
awesome.
online, and we're really sorry about that last comment.
Mine isn't. I want nothing to do with you.
But it came about from that. We just needed a word that was like that, and it's just flogging.
And that would just annoy the shit out of you.
Yeah, say flogging. And that's also how we came up with other characters' names. Like Yasaki was just Yasaki, and Samson and Reggie, and then Araris is just like Jade hates Araris, by the way. He doesn't like saying R's, and he wanted to change it to like Locust Jim.
I think
which is awesome. Actually, like, why didn't we do that?
Will we see a Rarest Jim in the second season?
A Rarest Jim? Yeah, it's his little
Locust
brother.
Jim.
Oh, Locust Jim.
I think it's funny too how they decide like what the word space will go in front of. And I think it seems like Isaac seems to be like the barometer on if that's funny or not. They'll be like, what about like space?
I said spacer clip once. Like in episode 9, she was like, there's a spacer clip in my pocket. He's like, you're an idiot. You're a goddamn idiot. No. And I was like, shit, okay.
And we'll say something like space heaven or space Jesus. Like,
and
yeah.
Isaac's like, that's good. That's going in the script.
Jesus, space Christ. I really like that too. That was good.
He's the space barometer.
We had a whole religion episode in the second season.
I like space minutes, I think was one too.
Yeah, like
10 space minutes.
Well, we're inside of 5 minutes. Does anybody have any other questions or comments? Yes, Tom.
Where can we see more of your work?
Oh.
A chance for self-promotion.
On Facebook, we'll release all of it.
Yeah, actually, that's something that we've been doing is we release a lot of our old work that we did together after so many likes. So if you like us on Facebook, you'll
we
see
hold it hostage.
Some of our old stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. I work for a company called Spirit Lake Pictures. So if you go look that up, I do that job at the same time I'm doing all of this. So I'm a very busy man. But
remember what I said about not eating or sleeping?
Yeah. But I'm currently working on a Haiti documentary for that company, and we do commercials and all that kind of stuff. And that's actually what's been awesome about Transolar Galactica is it's basically the complete opposite of doing a documentary about Haiti. So it's been nice, and it's been a really great outlet as far as like, oh, sad, or I can go blow up Isaac's head.
It's funny when people die in this.
You see where some of this shit comes from. Like, oh man, Isaac. It was a great night till Isaac torpedoed the Q&A.
We're very sorry, the entire country of Haiti. I don't think
and
they're
on that
listening.
note, these guys need some funding.
Whoa,
so give them money. No.
That was a good kick.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to touch on that a little bit, the plan is for us to take the show this summer to...
We're going to Boston, y'all. There's a couple conferences across the United States that we're all going to go to. Your wonderful presence is going to help us do that.
We're really hoping to kind of build our fan base nationally, but this has been inspiring.
Amazing,
you guys packing out this theater. We love the Spokane film community, and the fact that all you guys came out here to watch this is awesome, so we thank you.
We're going to take it across the country, build a fan base. Down the road, there's this thing called Kickstarter that we might give a try. It's pretty popular with...
If you haven't heard of it, it's crowdfunding, so it's a way of putting your project on the internet and offering small incentives back. It basically cuts out a middleman or a distributor by everyday Joe Bag of Donuts donating, $10 to our project. He might get a DVD back. Joe Bag, it's a term. Isaac challenges everything I say. Yeah. You should see us on set when we're going through the script. It's ridiculous. But
we basically set a goal, and then it's just crowd-funded. People donate what they would like, what they feel comfortable with. We hit certain incentive markers along the road to that big old goal in the sky, and
you get things.
And and no one gets charged until we reach our goal. So it's kind of like there's no risk on either end unless we reach our goal to whatever we choose to fund season 2.
Then we have your credit card numbers.
So it's kind of a neat process. I would, if you guys are curious about it, check out Kickstarter.com. It's a really new, neat format for a lot of independent film and art projects to get funded, and that's sort of our down the road goal after this summer.
Yeah. That'll be the next time we actually make Transolars as well. Is the certain road marks along that path is when we're going to release Transolar Galactica Origins, which is going to be where the hell did these people come from. We're going to do one episode for every character, and they'll be incrementally along our path to glory.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the next time you can see new Transolars, I guess.
And tonight was any proceeds that came from tonight's show will go to help fund future shooting as well. And we have a little donation jar out there. Anything helps. A nickel, a 6 pence, whatever you guys have. 6-pack works great too. We're always thirsty. But yeah, we just really appreciate you guys coming out and helping support us. So thank you. You guys should give yourselves a hand.
Do it.
And it's not too late. Like, it's only like 8 o'clock, right? so you can go on and have the rest of your fantastic evening downtown. We planned it that way.
Or you can join the cast and crew for drinks at Saranac Public House. Is that correct?
That's correct. We'll be heading over there. We also we'll have some posters out there for sale that we're happy to autograph or not, if you guys are like
in demand. No, stay away.
Yeah, so those all proceeds from that too will help fund us as well. So yeah, or come have a beer with us in a little bit. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks guys again, and thank you everybody for coming and supporting this awesome event. And
thank you for
we'll
moderating.
See you next door. Thank you.